Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, and the Houston Texans are off to their second best 5-game start in franchise history at 4-1 after beating the Buffalo Bills 23-20. But once again, this game was so much more freaking stressful than it needed to be. This damn team, man, they can't help themselves. They truly cannot. They are addicted to forcing their fans to sweat it out every single game. Some new storylines this week, though, which is huge for me, so I don't have to come in here and say the exact same thing over and over. First off, the Texans had an immaculate first half of football. 0 penalties as a team. Not a 1. 0. A completely clean half. Can you believe it? Let me find my... Here it is.
Please clap.
Please clap, everyone. 0 penalties in the first half. We did it. Unbelievable. Let's go. And we should get this out of the way up top, too, because it's that important. Laramie Tunsil. 0 penalties the entire game. Please clap. Please clap again.
Please clap.
Please clap again.
Please clap.
We did it. Laramie Tunsil did it. Holy shit. See, that's different than the first 4 games of the year, right? Huge. According to my calculations, which took hours to work out, the Texans not being flagged every other play makes the game roughly 1,000 times more enjoyable to watch. What a half of football that was. Was that not the most fun you've had watching the Texans this entire year so far, that first half against the Bills? Incredible. That being said, they found creative new ways to shoot themselves in the feet, so maybe don't pop the champagne just yet. Fantastic first half, though. C.J. Stroud was carving the Bills up on offense. Texans defense was giving the Bills fits. We only gave up 3 points. It was looking like we might not only get an impressive win over a respected Bills team, but also do it without having to stress too much. But somehow, if you've been watching this team all season long, and really last year too, you kind of had that feeling going into halftime like this isn't over yet. Even being up 17-3. Going into the half, up 17-3 after 2 first-quarter touchdowns, one by Nico Collins and a 15-yard touchdown run by Cam Akers, and a second-quarter 50-yard field goal by Fairbairn, who is now the Texans' all-time leading scorer. More on that a little bit later. Or fuck it, right now. Fairbairn, I didn't realize this. I don't know how. I guess because of so much turmoil over the first several years of his career here in Houston. But Fairbairn has been our kicker since 2017. In my brain, he was only our kicker in the D'Amico Ryans era, because I think I just suppressed all memory of the 3 eras, head coaching eras that preceded this one. But yeah, Fairbairn, if you were wondering, wow, that was quick, because this is my reaction when they announced him as the franchise all-time leading scorer was, holy shit, he did that in just a few years. We suck. Because, shouldn't somebody else have that record? But no, he's been doing this for 7 fucking years now. I think technically 8 years, because he was on the team in 2016. He was just hurt the whole year, so he didn't play. So this is his 8th season, technically, as our starting kicker. Fairbairn, 50-yarder in the second quarter, I think is what secured that record in the record books for him. Houston Texans all-time leading scorer, Kaimi Fairbairn. Very, very cool. Most explosive play of the game was Nico's first quarter 67-yard touchdown reception. And at this point, we're all feeling amazing seeing that, right? Nico continues his dominant run. Came into this game leading the league in receiving yards. I believe he left the game still leading the league in receiving yards, but unfortunately, suffered a hamstring injury on that 67-yard scoring play, was out the rest of the way, and as we all now know, that was devastating to our offensive momentum. So Nico Collins leaves with 2 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter of play with a hamstring injury. Sad, very unfair. Coach D'Amico Ryans said, I believe this morning, that Collins is day-to-day, and the team will evaluate him as the week goes on, so who knows what will happen there. We play the Pats next weekend in New England. Pats are garbage. Maybe we don't need Nico for that game. I mean, you want to win every game, and every game is losable, as we well know. So, anyway, first half, good stuff. Good stuff, minus the Nico Collins hamstring injury, which at the time we didn't know how bad it was or if he would be back. Anyway, then we come out after halftime and look like a completely different and utterly worthless football team by comparison. We've seen this happen before with the DeMeco Ryans-led Houston Texans, by the way. And just, I don't know what the fuck is going on at halftime in that locker room, but my suggestion as an amateur couch coach would be to do something different at halftime. Because whatever they are doing at halftime right now, 5 games deep into the season, every single time they come out of the half, they look like their energy is gone, like they didn't make any adjustments and the other team did, and it just strategically a mess. It was fucking infuriating to watch. So penalty flags flying all over the place where we had 0 penalties in the first half. Suddenly, we're getting them in every facet of the game in the second half. Run game goes back to being stagnant. C.J. Stroud looked lost a few times through a bad fourth quarter interception. We let Buffalo right back into this game. We get out. We go into halftime up 17-3. Then we get outscored 17-3 until the final minute of play where Kaimi Fairbairn saved the day. So I don't know what to make of that. Still, another week, and I don't have answers for you. I wish I did, but like it's really bizarre watching them roll into halftime with that much momentum and then come out and look like they thought the game was already over and they don't have to try anymore. Because that's not how any of this works. So it's like, I end up sweating my balls off the whole second half when this should have been an easy win. And I've been able to say that every win we've had this season has ended up much closer than it should have been a one-score game when it didn't need to be. Certainly this one didn't need to be. We fucking dominated defensively, and we still have to rely on a 59-yard Kaimi Fairbairn field goal to get a win in the fucking closing seconds of the game. Why? Why are they trying to kill me? Why are they trying to kill me? I just want to live peacefully on one Sunday, one time. God, they're making football season feel much longer than it needs to as well. I'm just pulling my hair out every single Sunday. So yeah, at times, like, first possession of the game, Bobby Slowick's play calling, everybody was like, what the fuck was that? Then it was like he went and had a cup of coffee and woke up and suddenly we're firing on all cylinders the rest of the first half. Then the second half we come out and we're back to looking like we have no clue what we're doing on offense. Again, a lot of halfback dives, a lot of run plays in situations where I'm like, I don't understand. It's almost like Bobby Slowick is doing he's calling plays the way a degenerate gambler places bets on sports, okay? Like constantly trying to reverse psychology himself. So he's like, okay, this is clearly a spot for a passing play. The defense will be expecting a passing play. Ipso facto, I'm going to run the ball. Like overthinking it, do you know what I mean? Like he's just overcomplicating the scheme at times. I'm not good enough at being an offensive coordinator to judge him fully. Clearly, I'm sitting here podcasting, not offensive coordinating. But as a fan who's paying really close attention, I'm just like, what? Why every week I've said, why are we overcomplicating this? Why are we making? In the second half, Nico Collins is out, so it's kind of a different ballgame. But like, there was just it's like a combination of what Slowick is calling and how CJ is executing when we're just punting much more than we should be, particularly in the second half of these games. And I don't know how to make sense of it. I don't know how to explain it. It just is. It's so frustrating. On another frustrating note, special teams, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? Sims is out, right? After last week's debacle with the fucking muffed punt inside the 5 to give up a touchdown to start the game. So we stick Robert Woods in there, veteran wide receiver. Veteran, a guy you would think would have a pretty good grasp on when to catch and when to not catch the punts. but he catches multiple punts inside of our own 5-yard line. Why the fuck, man? Let it bounce into the end zone. You're talking about a 25-yard difference in field position. A 25-yard difference. That's a big difference. It's a big difference, Robert. Christ almighty. I can't explain this. Do we need to fire all the special teams coaches? What do they do? What are they teaching these guys in practice? Are they not practicing? If you're inside the 5, let it go, brother. The worst thing that could happen is already happening. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, don't guarantee we are pinned inside the 10. Give us a chance with a bounce to get out to the 30. You fucking twit. I just don't get it. I don't know that happened twice with Robert Woods yesterday. So, yeah, look, Josh Allen was 9 for 30 on the game. 9 completions in 30 attempts. Josh Allen, which first reaction is, great job, defense. Great job. Fantastic. Second reaction is, how in the hell did this come down to being 20-20 with 30 seconds left in the game, with 8 seconds left in the game, until Fairbairn ends it with a field goal? How? If their quarterback is 9 for 30, why are we making this thing competitive still? What do we do? How the fuck is he 9 for 30 and we're tied at the end of the game? I don't know. Because we just keep shooting ourselves in the feet. This week it wasn't penalties necessarily. It was like silly, sloppy, dumbass mistakes. But to focus on the defense and some positivity, best defensive performance of the year for this team so far, all around, and in 4 quarters. Best defensive performance of the year for the Texans. Extremely impressive to bottle up Josh Allen and the Bills' offense the way that they did. The defense would be the MVP of this game, if not for Fairbairn, who you have to give it to, because without him, we actually lose. But yeah, 9 for 30 for Josh Allen, 30% completion percentage, the lowest completion percentage in a single game in over 30 years by a quarterback with 30-plus attempts. So a historic defensive performance, and yet we come down to it being 20-20 with seconds to go on the clock. Oh, my God. So great job by the defense. Bizarre that we still had to battle this thing out the way that we did, considering their performance. C.J. Stroud, definitely not his best game as a Texan. Very tough, also questionable intentional grounding penalty to bring up 4th and 15 and take us out of field goal range with less than a minute left in the game. That was a brutal penalty that it felt like there was a receiver in that direction. I understood both arguments. He was certainly in the pocket. There was pressure being applied to him. But when he drops back and throws that ball, like, you could argue that it was a miscommunication between receiver and quarterback, because like there were dudes in that direction. They just didn't end up being close to the ball by the time it landed because they broke in another direction. So regardless, cannot happen. Cannot happen. This was one of the brutal mistakes that I was just like, okay, so now we're not doing offensive holding. We're not doing false starts. We're doing intentional grounding on arguably the most important play of the game to get a 15-yard penalty and take us out of field goal, or not a 15-yard penalty, but to take us to 4th and 15 and push us out of field goal range with less than a minute left. Then thankfully, great punt. What's our punter's name? I can't remember off the top of my head, and he deserves credit. He used to be the Chiefs punter. His name is slipping my mind currently, and damn it, this is going to take me a second. Texans punter, excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize, but this is Tommy Townsend. Great punt by Townsend, pins them inside their 5, and then the Bills do Texans-y type stuff. They just shit the bed. Total, absolute disaster, clock management-wise. 3 passes, 3 incompletions. They burn like 10 seconds off the clock, and all of a sudden we're getting the ball back. At that moment, you're like, oh my God, we're going to overtime. And as Houston sports fans, overtime, extra innings, we don't usually fare well in these situations as of the last, decade or whatever. So scary situation. Thankfully, the Bills decide, no, let's give them one more chance. They don't even move a yard in the 3 plays that they run. They punt it back to us. I think it was a 13-yard return on like a 56-yard punt. We're on the 48 or something to start the drive. One little, check down pass over the middle for C.J. Stroud to get us 5 more yards. Next thing you know, Kade Fairbairn's kicking the field goal, and it's game over. But thank the Bills for the way this game ended, for that disturbingly unintelligent play calling by the Bills offense there at the end of the game. But we didn't need to be in that spot. Again, that's what's so frustrating about this team through 5 games, is these self-inflicted wounds that have made every game far closer than it needed to be. It's so frustrating to see and so frustrating to watch, and just looking at our results so far. So game 1, Colts, 29-27. That's a 2-point win. Obviously, that's one score. Game 2, Chicago Bears with a rookie quarterback, by the way. 19-13 win. That's a 1-score game again. We lose to Minnesota. We all know how that one went. Jacksonville, we win 24-20. Buffalo, we win 23-20. These are all way closer than they needed to be. If you watched the games, you knew we should have had a multi-score lead in every single one of those wins. And for one reason or another, we did not. For usually several reasons, we did not. And it's just been that kind of year so far. And that's kind of been the MO of DeMeco Ryans and this Texans team since he took control. They're not blowing people out much. These are close games where they're pulling through and coming out on top when they get wins. But yeah, just to go back to C.J. Stroud, that interception he threw looked really bad. I haven't looked into like if it was a miscommunication or what happened there exactly, but it looked really, really bad. He got strip sacked as well for another turnover. He looked a little dejected at times, like his body language on the field was not great. For C.J. Stroud, I would say it was like pretty regular for a quarterback who's experiencing a frustrating game. But C.J. is usually a pretty even keel guy. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. He's sturdy, keeps it even keel. Great leader for that reason. This game, he looked dejected at times. He looked like it was getting to him, and he was frustrated, and he was he was feeling it. So he still finished 28 for 38 for 331 yards, a touchdown, and interception, of course, the fumble. But not his best game. There were some mistakes. You got to avoid the turnovers. CJ avoiding turnovers is like the thing that has gotten us wins in some of these games that we otherwise wouldn't have. And then this week, it's the thing that almost gives a game away when we shouldn't even have been close. So yeah, he also was gimpy. Got up limping a couple different times where I'm just like, oh no, this is it. This is it. He's gonna get hurt, isn't he? But he cannot get hurt. Seemed to have better protection this game from the offensive line in general. That may have just been the result of there not being nearly as many penalties from the offensive line, as many false starts, and as many holding calls. So I felt really good about the way things were going with the offensive line. But when it comes down to it, we get the 59-yard field goal from Kade Fairbairn for the win. He is the MVP of this game. He is 11, 8 for 9 from 50-plus this season. I believe 11 makes is where he's at. 11 makes, regular season, 11 for 12. He's 11 for 12 so far this season, 8 for 9 from 50-plus. He's having a year, and he's been here since 2016. Everybody make that mental note so you don't forget. Obviously a great game from him. It's so nice to have a kicker, especially if you're going to win every game by these close margins like we have. So nice to have a kicker that you can rely on and trust, especially when it comes down to the wire in clutch kicking situations. Stephon Diggs in his first game against the Buffalo Bills since departing the Buffalo Bills. Solid. 6 receptions, 82 yards. I believe he led the team in receiving yards after Nico Collins went down. Obviously, that was the reason why, but all around, decent game from Diggs, and you could tell he was happy with the way things went. And in the post-game celebration in the locker room, which obviously gets filmed, it is on camera, and they make clips from it and whatnot, I thought he showed the leadership qualities that you want to see in a veteran star wideout. Telling the guys, this was great. I really appreciate this. Y'all know how much this meant to me. Great game, great win. But the most important thing is that we immediately get back to work and start grinding, because he knows we're still not good enough. This isn't good enough. He's been on teams that have made deep playoff runs, He knows what that looks like, and we are not there yet, as we all are very aware of. Just these are too many mistakes being made still, costly errors. You can make some mistakes, but the brutal ones where you're killing yourself, they got to stop. So Diggs was happy, continues to look like a good leader. I didn't see as many shots of him standing a foot from C.J. Stroud on the sideline, making me feel awkward this game. So all around good things from Stephon Diggs. Dare Ogunbowale has really stepped up in the absence of Joe Mixon, and as we've struggled to get any momentum on in the ground game. Now, he's not necessarily doing great on running plays. That's been pretty below average, honestly, from both guys, Akers and Ogunbowale. But receiving, he had 6 receptions for 57 yards, Ogunbowale, and he's just motoring once he gets the ball. The dude is playing all out, great hustle, great energy, great effort, and I like what he brings to the team. I like what he brings to the offense in terms of energy. Yeah, I don't know. This was just another weird one, man. Like I said up top, this is the second best 5-game start in franchise history. Remember, they started 5-0 in 2012, arguably the most memorable Texans season outside of the DeMeco Ryans era in the franchise's existence was 2012 when they started 5-0. They went on to be 11-1. I still had season tickets at this point. They finished 12-4, which is the mark for the best regular season record in Texans franchise history. They beat the Bengals 19-13 in the wild card round, and then got absolutely destroyed by the Patriots 41-28. So it was one of those seasons where the regular season made us feel like, holy crap, maybe we're doing it, maybe we're turning the page, maybe we are a legitimate Super Bowl contender, even though we had Matt Schaub as our quarterback. No disrespect to Matt Schaub, he was never a Super Bowl quarterback. You know what I mean? He was good, but not good enough. And then he went through the whole pick six insanity situation that we don't have to talk about that today. The point is, 2012 was a season where we thought we had made the jump, and then we played a legitimate team in the Patriots in the playoffs, and they fucking demolished us. And it was so demoralizing as a Texans fan because it was just like, it was almost like get back in your place. Like, don't forget who you are, and you're not good, and you still suck, and no one respects you, and you're getting humiliated. If you're playing on national TV, you're getting humiliated. And it was so devastating to all the momentum that we had as a franchise, it felt like, to just go get spanked. And we had another year in that stretch there where the same thing happened, but with the Chiefs in the playoffs, and it was so defeating. Anyway, so we obviously, 5-0 in 2012. Now we're 4-1 in 2024. And we're looking to avoid a similar situation. Like, the regular season is very important, yes, but also in these games where a lot of frustrating things are happening can get under my skin and a lot of our skin as Texans fans. But the important thing to remember is, yes, a win is a win in this league. And you move on to the next one. And when you're at 4-1, you have to feel good about where you're at, regardless of how absolutely infuriating some of these wins have been and how much closer every single win has been than it should have been. But it's about getting better every week and moving toward the playoffs and trying to hit stride deep in the season. And they did feel like they got better this week. I agree with DeMeco. He said in the locker room, like, we got better this week. We were better this week. And I agree with that, especially on the penalty front. Although the wheels did come off there sort of in the second half, like, to get through the entire first half without a single penalty, for Laramie Tunsil to not have a single penalty this entire game shows me that maybe he actually fucking woke up and started focusing on it. Now the big question marks are Nico Collins' health. We need him back. We cannot have multiple games being missed by. We've already got Joe Mixon out. I don't know when the hell he's coming back. We got to get him back as well. Team's got to get healthy. Continue to protect C.J. Stroud. And then we're on to the next one, which is the Patriots in New England on Sunday. And the Patriots are 1-4. All right, they're not good. It should be a win, is what I'm saying. And then we would be 5-1 if you want to do math. We would be 5-1 if we beat the Pats. Not to look ahead too much, but Pats up next. After that, we're in Green Bay. Then we're back home against the Colts. Then we're on the road again against the Jets. Then we're at home against the Tigers. Then we're on the road against Dallas. Then we're at home against Tennessee. And then we're on the road against Jacksonville. So before the bye, that gets us to the Week 14 bye. So this is not, there's no easy schedules in the NFL. There aren't. And while it's not like some kind of gauntlet of nonstop fucking playoff teams or anything like that, every single one of these games is going to be challenging. Like, New England sucks, but you're in New England. Anything can happen. Green Bay has been solid, right? What are they sitting at this point? 3-2. They've had some frustrations as well, but you're in Green Bay. Anything can happen. Colts at home, you got to win that game, although Joe Flacco has been going absolutely bonkers out there. And then that's we can just leave it at that for today. But the point is, got to go out and get another one next Sunday. Continue to clean up, the little mistakes here and there that are costing us big, that don't need to happen, and pray for everyone to get a little healthier, because we've gotten pretty banged up over this first 5 games. God, I hope this is another one. I'm looking to it on the calendar, the Patriots game, and I'm like, blow them out. Just blow them out. I would like to spend the second half coming in and out of consciousness, napping on my couch. That's what I would like to do. I would not like to spend it biting on my finger. They have destroyed. I'm one of these nervous cuticle biters. My fingers are fucked. Every finger on my hand is bleeding by the end of the Texans game every week. I'm trying to get better. A blowout, please. And thank you. Jesus. All right, 4-1, though. That'll do it for today's show. Remember, every episode of Banging the Can is available on all the podcast platforms, as well as available for your viewing pleasure on youtube.com/@bangingthecan. If you're here right now on YouTube and you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. I need you to do all those things. It helps a lot with the algorithms and the like. It helps. Do it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a rating and a review. Give us 5 stars. Write a couple sentences about why you like the show. If you're on Spotify, give us a little 5-star rating. It means a lot. Thank you. And on that note, please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family. Tell them about Banging the Can. Follow us on social media everywhere, @Banging the Can, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. We're all on all those places. Follow us on all those places to continue supporting the show. It means a lot. Do it. Check out Bolen Media's other shows. If you're an F1 fan, we have Formula Bone, bringing you a recap and a preview of every race all season long by host Jared J-Bone Borislow. Formula Bone is available wherever you get Banging the Can. Check out Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, hosted by myself and another Houston born and raised Texans fan, Barrett Dudley. We are right now covering The Penguin episode by episode. If you're watching The Penguin on HBO, we drop a companion podcast every week. Usually Tuesdays is when we've been doing it. Companion podcast that helps you enjoy The Penguin, each episode of The Penguin even further, even more. You're welcome. Check out the Ross Bolen podcast as well. I'm Ross Bolen. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @WRBolen, and I'll be back next week on Monday to discuss the Texans and the Patriots and the results of that contest. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.